Welcome to the State and Maine podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Bryant, and today we're here with Heather Heck with Alora Aesthetics. I want to call it cosmetics, but it is aesthetics.
Aesthetics.
Welcome, Heather.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Heather.
So I grew up in Glasgow, and I went to Barron County High School. And then when I graduated, I went to Western for my bachelor's in nursing. Graduated in 2004. And then I moved to Nashville, took my first job at St. Thomas. So I spent several years nursing there in the congestive heart failure and emergency medicine. And then I decided I wanted to go back to school and get my master's. And so I did that at Vanderbilt. And then I spent probably most of my 20s in Nashville. Worked at Vanderbilt, came back to Bowling Green a little bit of time there and worked with pulmonary cardiology practice here, and then moved back and worked at Vanderbilt. And that's where I met my husband, who is a nurse anesthetist. And he actually really liked the way the practice was set up at Med Center. And so we ended up moving back in about 2013. And we've kind of stayed since then.
So your husband's responsible for bringing you back to Bowling Green?
Bringing me back home, yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's so, the older you get, the more you think about how your life has unfolded. But if you'd asked me then, I would have said I would have stayed in Nashville. But asking me now, I would rather be here.
Being from the small town in Glasgow, it's way more similar here than it is in Nashville today. Nashville's extreme growth is the 2-hour traffic jam
and it's just not as charming as it was when I lived there. And now that I have children, I wouldn't want to raise my kids there right now. I mean, I know that there are good places. It's a lot of navigation. Like you just said, you're navigating finances and traffic and locations and things like that. And this is just a good place to be with your family.
It definitely is. We're lucky to have Bowling Green and all the things that Bowling Green has to offer, and still keeping that small community feel, yet having things like Skypack in the ballpark and a mall that we didn't grow up with in Glasgow, and shopping and the availability to have more resources than, I compare Bowling Green and Glasgow all the time, but it really is like a major, back then it felt like a
big deal. It was a big deal.
It was almost the similarity of Bowling Green going to Nashville to go to Green Hills or something, but we spent our weekends coming over here to the Greenwood Mall.
So did we.
And that was a big weekend.
And if we were going to eat at a, fancy restaurant,
Outback or Hops,
we came to Scottsville Road.
Sure. Scottsville Road is where it was at, and still is.
Yeah. We just didn't have the options in Glasgow, which is, it's grown a lot too, which is good, and hopefully it'll continue to. But Bowling Green has so much potential, and I really think it's going to continue what was predicted to be a lot of growth, right?
Oh yeah, we're the fastest growing city in the state, and
Kentucky.
have been for a while, and projected to be so for quite some time to come.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your business here in downtown Bowling Green.
So we are a medical aesthetics practice. We offer Botox, Dysport, dermal fillers, lasers, and we have recently added an esthetician for facials and brows and waxing.
You just said a whole lot of things that I have no clue what they mean.
Yes.
What types of services are those? Some of the fillers and Botox and those sorts of things I understand, but what are some of the more complicated ones, or the less known ones?
Actually, all of them are probably somewhat not known. So neurotoxin is what we use for kind of softening lines and wrinkles. And then dermal filler is what we use for volume replacement when people have volume loss as they start to age. Laser treatments are much more complex. So we have a Cyton Imjul, and it does BBL, which is broadband light, and Moxie, which is a non-ablative laser. Do you really want me to get into all that?
You can.
So broadband light helps with redness, pigmentation, broken capillaries. So we're delivering light energy.
So that's what you've been telling me I need to do for these little red spots on my face for probably the last year.
Well, yes.
And what would
it's a great treatment.
What would it actually do for me?
So it's going to even out skin tones. They have done, it's been around for 20, 30 years. It's it's a great laser device. They have done studies at Stanford, and it will actually it'll reverse the cell's aging process at the cellular level over time if you do them on a regular basis. They did a 10-year study at Stanford on that. So a lot of patients will just add them to a regular, like they come in for a neurotoxin, or they're every 3 months. Quick and easy. Main thing with that is staying out of the sun, but you're not disrupting the skin's barrier. You don't have to change your routine, which is, with a lot of lasers, there's a little bit of downtime.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How did you end up in this aesthetics industry?
So I've always had an eye for detail. I've always loved decorating and attention to detail, and a little bit of a perfectionist. I've been a nurse for 22 years, and so I started in the hospital setting and spent 16 plus years in acute care medicine, ER medicine as my first job. And I love that as well. But about 2000, after my son was born, probably 2016, 17, I just thought I would take a Botox class. I was like, I'm kind of interested. I like skincare too. I've always tried to take good care of my skin. But I just thought I'd go take a class and see. And then it just kind of grew from there. I went from that class in Nashville, which was more of a basics class. And then I went to Scottsdale and asked a nurse out there that does education to train me further. So I went and followed her for three or 4 days, and we did more extensive training. And then came back and was kind of just doing it a little bit here and there. And I was still working in cardiology and pulmonary, and helping a physician group that I had been with since I was a brand new NP. And I just kind of stayed with them part-time and rented a little space out of their building, a little room in their sleep center. And I would do people from the hospital and, just this, that, and the other. Really wasn't doing any marketing. And then the opportunity came up to work at one of the plastic surgery practices. And so that's how I kind of moved into it fully.
So it started out as more of a side hustle, grew into more of a full-time gig,
Yes.
and then you stepped out on your own and opened Alora.
Yes, I stepped out of the plastic surgery practice in 2022 and started Alora.
Interesting. How did you choose to put Alora in downtown Bowling Green?
So I have always loved downtown spaces. I think the architecture probably is what draws me to downtown. And also, it just feels lively. It's always vibrant. There's always people walking by. It feels like there's something going on. And it's different. I wanted my space to feel elevated, but also warm and welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something about older buildings that bring charm, and they feel warm.
Well, you've definitely done a wonderful job of making this one feel very welcoming. We'll have the guys get some B-roll footage that lays in on top of this and shows everybody the complete space.
Yes, funny, because we're going to get to the next space, but the clients always tell me how much they love the way the space feels.
Now, I believe I understand that you've lived in a couple old homes as well. So
yes,
you not only
we
have an
love
appreciation for downtown, but
yes.
just classic architecture, classic detail, and the craftsmanship that you can't find in the more modern construction today.
Yes, I do. We've lived in 2 older homes, and the one we live in now, we are trying to restore it back to somewhat of its character.
Fun. So you obviously have a love for older properties and history and things of that nature. As you and I both come from Glasgow, Kentucky, where we have a
Yes.
strong downtown environment and a lot of older homes there around our square in downtown. I actually grew up in one of them there off of South Green Street.
My favorite street.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Always. We were in the country, but I love South Green Street.
Bowling Green is really revitalizing, coming around. Where do you see Bowling Green going over the next 5 or 10 years, now that you've spent a few years down here?
Gosh, I feel like Bowling Green in general is exploding, but I really love that downtown is growing. I think it is so refreshing to see people shopping local, supporting small businesses, coming and I mean, just this morning, like driving in, they are walking around Fountain Square and people are sitting outside of Spencer's and having 30 Bird. I mean, there's just so many. There's good dining, there's good coffee, there's good shopping. I think health and wellness, we're bringing that between Spot and me. You know, I think it's just a great combination of things. I would love to see it continue to thrive in that direction.
I know I've always said we need more lunch options in downtown. From a business perspective, what are the things you think we need down here?
Well, parking is the number one thing we hear in the practice, and it does bother me because I want my clients to have a good experience. And I think when you have an upscale practice or restaurant or any business that you want to feel elevated, you want them to have a good experience. It's part of the experience, right? So I think that would probably be the number one thing that I could see would really be helpful for all of the businesses downtown right now.
Now, when you say parking, I don't feel like we have an overall lack of parking. I feel like Facebook, of course, is Facebook, and
Correct.
Some people have a limited knowledge of what the real rules are, and
yes.
I think some clear descriptions of where you can park, where you can't park, and I know the city tries hard with their free parking maps and understanding the differences in public and private property and knowing what you can and can't do can be difficult down here.
Right.
But is there anything in particular that you think we can't just grow additional parking spots. I wish we could. But is there anything you see that would make a significant impact to a business here on the square?
Well, I do find that a lot of my clients will say it's not that they didn't find a spot, it's that they've circled for 25, 30 minutes, or they've had to circle, 4 or 5 times. And like to what you said, a lot of people don't stay down here as much as we do. So we are very accustomed to knowing where we can go. I think most people have no idea. And so, for instance, they're afraid to park in the 2-hour spots because they're afraid that if I run over 2 hours, they're going to get a ticket because they don't know that that's more of trying to divert people from doing so. So I think maybe some clearer guidelines on that. And, I mean, it would be wonderful to maybe see a parking structure at some point closer.
We, of course, have the one, which it goes back and forth on how far away it really
Right.
is. From here, you're probably, 2.5, 3 blocks, which gets into a bit of a distance for some people. For me, it's getting closer and closer all the time as I walk more miles every day. But it can fill up as well at times. During the day,
True.
typically, there's plenty of space in it.
But for high-end services, to walk 3 blocks feels...
A lot of people have gotten spoiled with being able to park in front of a business, walk in,
Correct.
and walk right back out.
I think part of the charm of downtown is that you can do other things while you're down here. So once you find a parking spot, you can go grab coffee, or you can stop into Candlemakers or back down south, or whatever. And that's the charm of it, right? Going and pulling up, parking, and then going back out, getting your car, leaving. That's less charming. And so I love that they can come here, and then if they want to go grab lunch before they get back in their car, they can. It's just sometimes I feel like when they get here, they're a little worked up.
Sure.
Because they're worried they're going to be late for their appointment.
What other businesses do you see a need for in downtown? I've always said that Meltdown has had the biggest character change to downtown that I've seen over my 10 years of being down here on a daily basis. It really changed it from more of an office and lunch or I'll call it an office and dinner feel, and then the late night feel after that. It brought back the grandparents and the kids and the families and brought people out with a blanket in the park, and people sat down and read a book and ate some ice cream and did those sorts of things. And I would love to see more of those community-based feels come back into downtown, and it not be 3 different groups of being your office and your retail during the day, your dinner, and then your late night, bar atmosphere type scenario. Well,
Yeah, I agree with that. I was trying to think back, when I was at Western, it was mostly more of a bar scene. And I love that we're kind of mixing that up. It wasn't quite as vibrant as it is now. Um, I think more family oriented places, be great to have a little more shopping, I think,
Mm-hmm.
some unique boutique type stores. I think we have some decent dining options, but you're down here a lot. So I think for you, it would be a different feeling because you live here.
Sure.
And so for me, I like our lunch options. Maybe I love Gerard's as well. Well, in 442, I guess maybe dinner
Mm-hmm.
is always or bookstores or something where you could hang out, but then you get back into the how's everybody going to get there to hang out? Because you
Sure.
want people to come and gather. You want people to feel like they can just sit and enjoy some time outside or and not be feeling like they have to leave to get out of the parking spot or are they going to get a ticket.
Sure.
I don't know the answer to the solution. That's not my specialty, but
How long have you been in this space now? 3 years?
4.
Almost 4.
No, well, it'll be 4 in April.
It does not
So,
feel like 4 years. When you were originally looking at different places to place your business, other than the character of downtown, what I know there was more than one or two options, but what made you choose downtown over Scottsville Road or
I think it still goes back to that. I had a vision. I don't even know where the vision came from. I just had a vision of that little sign right there, the round sign. I love that, the post off of the wall. I think it's so like vintage, but modern at the same time. I just loved it. And I had this like thought of it. I already knew that's what I wanted before I even found this little space. And literally the day we found this space, a friend and I were driving around and we just so happened to drive by and see the sign and we were both like, this is perfect. It wasn't too big, which that was part of, what I was looking at initially. It wasn't going to be more than I could bite off at the time. And it was charming. It was the color. It was right up my alley in every way. And honestly, I live just a couple miles away. My kids, I literally do everything in a few mile radius. I spend half my day working and the other half at Spencer's and then getting my kids in at my house. And so we are literally just a few miles from where I live and from where they go to school. And the girl that does my hair is down here. My nails is, everybody is just in this space.
it's ultra convenient when you stay inside of an ultra small circle. You don't have to get in that traffic.
And I didn't mean for
craziness.
that, but it just happened that way. And so when I go across town now, I'm like, oh gosh, it's just as bad over here to drive or park or get from point A to point B on Campbell Lane or Scottsville Road or anything.
I know when you were originally looking, that this building's cut up kind of like a duplex. There's two sides to it, and you went back and forth, and you were 1 foot in, 1 foot out on, do I take half of it or all of it? Half of it or all of it?
Yes.
And that you ended up taking half of it, and I told you at
Yes.
the time, I think this is something
Take
you're
all
going to
of it.
regret. Take all of it. You're going to grow faster than you think. You're going to do more, and I know the space has been a little limiting to you. Over the last now 4 years. I would have said 2 or 3, but goodness, time really flies. And that's leading us to what I feel is probably the most exciting part of what we get to do on this podcast. I think you have a little something to tell us today.
Yes. So later this year, we are going to be moving to the old Dublin's building, which is exciting, thanks to you.
Well, I can say thanks to you as well. You don't know how much it means to be able to go from a late night bar nightclub scenario to a clean, quiet, aesthetically pleasing place next door.
Yes.
I'll leave it at that. I have many more things I could
Thoughts.
say, but just to go to clean and quiet and be able to redo the building and kind of give it a fresh start. You and I have been playing with plans for that for probably the last 2 or 3 months. And I think we're finally getting them drilled down pretty close to the final details now, moving a washer and dryer around and
Right.
placing the final sinks and those sorts of things. But it's going to represent a significant growth to you. You're going from, I forget what the square footage is here,
It's
but I would say
700 and
750
something.
square feet up to plus or minus 3,000 square feet at the other place.
Yes.
How many more people will you be adding over there?
So at least a few. I'm not sure yet. We're still thinking on what all we're gonna do. And some of that we're gonna keep secret anyway. But
Not going to give everything
yeah,
away.
we don't want to give everything away. I have lots of interest. It's about making them all happen. So.
Sure.
But we're very excited. You know, it's little things that people that come in don't necessarily see. You know, it's like being in your own home trying to figure out the layout of your house. It's the same when you work in the space. And so we're going to have, it's going to be luxury for us to have room to move around the bed and sinks and all the things that we really want. And storage. There's a lot more behind the scenes of med spas and what you need to run them than you think would be.
To me, hearing the word luxury and the old Dublin space come together is almost
I know.
comical.
Everybody that I've told it's going to be in the Dublin space, they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, I promise it's going to be really nice.
Well, it'll definitely be a full gut remodel down to the studs, all the way
Yeah.
back, new mechanicals, new plumbing, new electric, new walls, floors, ceilings, paint. There will be nothing but the shell of what was Dublin's, some old brick and I guess some of the floor joists and things like that. But other than that, all of what was will be gone. So
It's very exciting.
I'm super excited about it, and I know my wife is as well, and we're looking forward to good night's sleep and
Coming down and visiting for some services.
and the area smelling a little better. And well, Lindsay's really excited about
We'll have you both there.
She'll have
before
hair beneath us and
Yes,
aesthetics
exactly.
next door.
Exactly.
It's almost the perfect little line now between milkshakes or ice cream and a glass of wine, then aesthetics, then hair.
And hair.
After all that, you can go swing through the Copper Bar and get a cocktail and head back out of downtown and head home for the evening.
Yes, I think it's going to be great. I really do.
Something I don't know that I've told you yet that might make you feel even better about it is you are going to have some reserved parking over on that side of the square.
Oh, yeah, you haven't.
It will be for you and the finery to share. So a few others might get to use some of it over some time, but within about a block and a half, you're going to have.
Oh, wait, you may have told me.
You're going to have some, not private parking, but some accessible parking that will be for you and your clients.
I love that. So will they. They definitely will love that.
Have you paid much attention to what's going on down at the riverfront and what the city's doing?
No, I did see, where were we? We were somewhere the other day and I saw the drawing and that was the first time I'd actually seen the layout. It's really nice.
It's
Looks
really
very
going to
nice.
change a lot of things
Yes.
down here. And over the next several years as the public project goes on, and I think it's 4 different phases that they're currently working on, like phase 1 and phase 3, and then they'll drop back and do 2 and 4 later. But as that goes on and the private development goes on down at the riverfront, I really see our downtown expanding all the way from probably Western all the way down into the riverfront. So, that's going to draw more and more apartments and multifamily and people actually living, working, playing, and kind of doing what you described a minute ago with putting everything you do inside of a small circle. So
I think it brings back community.
I agree with you. I know just from walking around down here, the longer you're here and the more people you meet, it's hard to walk 40 or 50 feet and not be saying hi to a neighbor or a friend or a business owner or whoever it might be that's walking out of their shop or their home. And that's the fun part of it. It's fun to be a part of it, and it's fun to participate in it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens over there at the new store. I've been working recently with the limestone guys on the new front of your store.
Oh.
And I've got some pictures to show you that I haven't
excited.
shown you yet. But my plan is, if we can do it, is to take it back to the original 1890s storefront.
I love
as
that.
as close to possible. We're going to peel away the 1960s and take it back into the 1890s. Working with the city right now to try to put the old wrought iron balcony back on it.
Okay.
It won't be very functional, but it'll be
It'll
cool
be
for
pretty.
the aesthetics.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so exciting. I think the fact that you have such a big hand in reviving downtown, which is amazing. And I just think the fact that we even walk these streets with all the history that's happened here and the buildings are still standing and we're bringing them back to life with each business and each business that moves in, and it's just it's so cool to be a part of that, really, to like know, okay, my business, my little small business is going to be a part of kind of history, really, because this area is the center of downtown. I mean, the center of Bowling Green. It's the heart.
I decided a long time ago it's not all you really get to do when you participate in one of these buildings is preserve it for the next either
Yes.
business or the next generation or the next.
Yes. But the fact
the
that
next
you're
group of
doing it
people.
is amazing.
Well, you're part of it. Without the tenants and the businesses and everyone else, none of it would work. So, thank you to you as well.
I appreciate the opportunity. You've been a good landlord to me, and I tell that a lot to my clients that, it's just an easy transition, which is scary for a small business to make anyway, a jump into something else. And so having support and people who believe in you and people who are, good to work with is helpful.
We've always known you to be successful. I knew from the minute I met you, between personality and your love for the business and your care and your detail, and we've gone round on how much light you really need, and
Yes,
as
we're not done with that yet. We're going to be.
As we both age a little, our eyes are getting worse and worse and worse. And,
Yes.
And what can we do to improve things? But it's been a lot of fun over the last 4 years now, and it'll be a lot more fun over the next 10 years and watching where all this goes. Heather, thanks again for coming and doing this with us today. We really look forward to having you on the other side of the square over there where I call home. If you're willing to, I would love to get back with you as the construction process goes along and gives people some sneak peeks. Maybe not the full scale sit down and talk situation, but just sneak peeks of what the office is going to look like and the details that are going to go into it. But seriously, thanks again for taking your time today and being willing to do this with us and being such a part of downtown Bowling Green.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.